There aren't too many brands out there that cater towards people's fit when it comes to earphones, but thankfully JBL is doing exactly that. They do have a stem style design set of earphones with a seal, they have a bud style design, and they have an open style design, which I have right here. This is the JBL Flex 2, and it's really nice to spend time with an open style earphone after a very long time. Thank you to the folk at JBL India for making this review possible by sending me this demo unit. All thoughts and opinions are my own. So let's jump straight into how this is built. Well, its unboxing experience is pretty similar to that of the rest of the Tune series, and you get everything you need in the box. You do get the earphones in the case, of course, and I must say the case has to be one of the smallest and most compact cases I've seen in the recent past. You do get tiny little ear tips that are on it, which leave them open, but you also do get a small and a medium as well. If you're not careful, you will miss this little box that is on the side of the packaging, which is a sealing type ear tip. So this actually helps you with a seal. So if you want to use these as open style or sealed, you do have that flexibility, which is pretty cool. And then of course you do get the JBL orange charging cable, which is pretty standard now. It's nice to see they're sticking to their roots with that color, and you do get the literature as well. And then moving back onto the case and the earphones, well, this has to be the most compact case I've ever seen. In fact, it's extremely cute. I remember gushing over this when I first sort of saw this. In fact, this is what it looks like compared to the Tune Buds 2. It's definitely a lot more compact. Now you do get this in various colors. This does have the JBL branding on the front like the other cases do, and a nice open section here which will let you push the lid open. You do have the USB Type-C charging slot at the bottom, and you do see the Tune Flex 2 branding at the rear hinge. And then of course when you pop it open, you will see the LED lights light up to let you know how much battery there is, and you will see the earphones within the case. So coming to the earphones, it does have the touch controls where the LED light is. This does respond pretty well. I've not had any issues with touch controls. They have also got this much broader charging port, which will ensure a much better contact for charging. And of course these are the little ear tip sort of sections, or should I say this is the smallest one that you can fit onto this, and you can take this off and swap it with the other ones, including the sealing style of ear tips. So once you do that, this does in fact have active noise cancelling, which is surprisingly good once you put that sealing ear tip on. But largely it does have the overall fit and finish of the rest of the case. It is a matte finish, and I found it to be very comfortable. It sits very snug in my ears, and I've not had any discomfort with these earphones. And then moving on to the features, well, it does have a lot of stuff going on in the app. The JBL Headphones app has been loaded with a lot of stuff, and this set of earphones is also no slouch. So I'll throw the screen up so you can see what I'm doing here. So you do have the options of choosing the open style tip or the sealed type. So this does change the tuning a little bit, and it depends. It's better catered to whichever ear tip you are using, of course. And then of course you do have the ANC option, which definitely works a lot better when the sealed ear tip fits. So then you can choose between 1 to 6 levels of ANC. These aren't very apparent in its, how much more aggressive it gets, but it is a pretty good sort of isolator when you have the sealed ear tip on with the ANC. Don't expect it to be as good a performer with the open style ear tips. It's not going to be, because you do need that seal. And then of course you do get ambient aware, you get talk through mode, which is kind of standard from JBL. You get the smart audio video, gesture controls, and what I do want to highlight is the spatial sound. I found the latest Tune series that they've got. Now I've heard spatial sound on a whole bunch of earphones, including some high-end stuff. I found that JBL with this Tune series of earphones has actually done a very good job with their overall tuning. There is a significant shift between movie, music and gaming, and each one has a slightly wider stage than the other. They are catered towards different kinds of experiences, and this actually does a very good job. And I thought that this wouldn't, but it actually does. In fact, once you have those sealed earphones on, or for that matter even with the open style, it does a very good job of giving you a sense of a wider stage. So that's pretty cool with spatial sound, of course. Personify is a great way to get a bespoke tuning, of course. I recommend using the max volume limiter if you do want to preserve your hearing, of course. And then the call section here that you see, I will show you in the call demo. I will do a call demo to show you how it performs there. And then here, of course, you do get a relax mode, find my buds, and so on. So this does have everything that the other Tune series earphones has. And then when it comes to its equalizer, I do have a dedicated video as to how to tune your JBL earphones or any IEMs or anything audio related. I will leave that down in the description, so that will give you a better idea of how to get the sound that you are looking for. The active noise cancelling on this does definitely work very well with the sealed ear tips. In fact, it's a pretty good performer for cutting out droning noises, say AC motors, fan motors, droning noises of engines, or even road noise from tires. It is a pretty good performer. Don't expect it to do well with the open style. If you really want ANC to work very well, you need the sealed style of ear tips. And like I did mention, it's very easy to miss this in the box, because this is a very tiny little sort of box that is given within the box. It's kind of hidden. You have to sort of slide it out from the side. So you have to look out for this, because there is this set of ear tips that are there. So if you've missed it by any chance, if you've bought this and you're watching this video, you want to get this out of the box. I hope you've not thrown it out, because then you've lost those ear tips. But with this, it definitely is a good performer, and it's terrifically comfortable as well. So it's cool that they've got both the options for open style and closed with this. So now they do have 6 microphones for these earphones, as well as with the other Tune series of earphones, and it's thanks to those mics that it is as good as it is with its active noise cancelling. But thanks to those 6 microphones, it also does help with its environmental noise cancelling. So if you do want to know how these earphones will perform while you're talking to a recipient, here's a quick demo to show you how your voice will carry over to one of your recipients. So I'm calling you from the usual busy street I do all of my call tests from, just so you get an idea of how much these earphones are going to be battling. Now, there are a whole bunch of 2-wheelers, 4-wheelers, trucks with pressure-ons behind me, tractors. There is some construction work still going on behind me, and it is of course never ending. So I have been on the camera microphone all this time, so you can hear what these earphones are going to be battling. And I'll switch over to the Flex 2 microphones right about
now. So this is the overall experience you can expect to your voice to carry over to your recipient. Of course, now what I do like to do is to switch on over to the app. So I'll go into the app now, and I am, as you can see, on the ANC mode. Also, the screen up, so you can see that I am on the ANC mode right now, and you can go on over to the ambient aware mode. I hope nobody sort of blows the pressure on, because I can hear everything pretty clearly. In fact, the ambient away is pretty good, so much so it does feel as if I'm not wearing sealed tips. I have put on sealed tips to avoid all that honking. Talk through mode doesn't go on to when you're on a call, so I'll go back onto ANC. Now, one thing I do want to mention about ANC, now you can't switch it when you're in a call, but the ANC with these earphones in this setting right now, I don't think it's as sort of aggressive as the Tune Beam 2 and the Tune Buds 2, because there is a higher frequency from road noise and engines that are bleeding in at this distance, because I am just about 6 or 8 feet away from this road. So moving on, let me take you into the audio setting, because here is where you can do some really cool stuff. So you do have a sound level optimizer. This ensures it's for me. So if you are talking to me and your volume is too high or too low, it sort of tries to level that out. And then you do have a sound setting as well. Now this is again, we adjust the tone of the voice of the person at the other end. So I can toggle your voice between natural, increased treble, or increased bass, which is cool. The voice setting is something you'll benefit from, because this says adjust how your voice sounds to the person at the other end. So right now I've been on the natural mode, and I'll switch on over to powerful. So you will get a little more lower frequency, a little more rumble from my voice. And then the next one is bright. So the upper mid range of this should be sounding a little more, should I say, sharp in its details, so you can hear me enunciating a little bit better. And that's pretty much what it has. And I'll switch over back to natural. So you should be able to hear the difference in the sounds whenever I toggle through these, because you are, of course, sitting in the best seat right now. You are the reviewer. You are the recipient. Then one thing that's really cool is the voice aware feature. Now, this is something I think that only JBL has. I've not seen this across any other manufacturer. There are some people who, when they're on a phone call, they don't want to only hear the vibrations through their skulls coming back to them. They want to hear their own voice coming through the earphone. So once you switch this on, it does exactly that. So I don't think you'll hear a difference, but I hear the difference. So I can actually hear myself at a lower level now, a little more with medium, and a lot more with high. Now, the thing with this is it does make things feel a lot more natural when you're talking with this on. But the thing is, it does feed in other frequencies. So that's something to keep aware. But it's really cool that they've got this option to keep that specific person happy and comfortable while on calls. It's pretty cool that JBL has included that, of course. So anyway, I hope that this quick demo has given you a better understanding for the Flex 2 earphones, and I'll see you back at the studio.
These come with 12 dynamic drivers, have a frequency response of 20 Hz all the way up to 20,000 Hz, and support the SPC and AAC codecs. Now, this does have a larger driver than the Tune Beam and the Tune Buds 2, in part because it's primarily an open style set of earphones. And that the big reason why usually these have larger drivers is because they want to push out more bass, because there's a lot of loss with an open style. Now the thing is, it is definitely a larger driver, but I usually have issues with larger drivers because the housing is larger and I have discomfort in my left ear. I do have a smaller left concha, but comfort wise I've not had any issues with this. Now moving back to the sound, when it comes to its overall tuning, the first thing that hit me with this is its bass, and that's the same thing I experienced with the Tune Beam 2 and the Tune Buds 2. And this is also no slouch. In fact, something tells me that this has a lot more sort of a heaviness in the lower frequency. Dare I say, there is a bit of bloat with these compared to the other set, the other two sets that I've mentioned. Now, volume-wise, this thing's been very comfortable at about maybe 50-55% volume, but it does open up at about maybe 65-70% volume, especially when it's open. I found myself listening to it lower down at maybe 45-50% with the sealed ear tips on. So this will vary, of course, from person to person, but one thing I do like to have on is that max volume limiter. It's nice that JBL has got that, and I would recommend leaving that on if you intend on preserving your hearing, because if you listen to sounds above 85 dB for a prolonged period of time, you will lose your hearing. And then moving on to its soundstage. Its soundstage, again, it varies depending whether you have your spatial audio on or not. I like it with it off a lot. I'm not really a fan of spatial audio. I do like the whole stereophile thing. And it does have a good, well-centered phantom channel with good left and right separation. But if you do want to watch a movie or play games, having those spatial audio options on does in fact give you a good sense of some sounds coming from, let's say, right over your head or a little further out of the earphones. The phantom channel tends to sort of spread wider when you put spatial audio on, which is kind of why I prefer not having spatial audio on. But I must say, for gaming in particular, it does a very good job of expanding vertical stage. So there's a lot of stuff that seems to come from higher up instead of from a horizontal plane. So they've definitely done a very good job with this spatial audio tuning. So stage-wise, I think it's nice that you've got the option to play around with it. And the thing is, the JBL has actually done a genuinely good job with this set of earphones when it comes to spatial audio. I've not heard too many sets of earphones that I like when it comes to spatial audio. This is definitely one of them. And then moving on to imaging. Well, this is definitely not an audiophile set of earphones, but it does pretty well. It's fine for the casual listen. It's fine for the audiophile as well if you are looking for a casual listen. This is not a set of earphones that you want to do critical listening with for certain, but I mean, it's well detailed enough. You can hear certain nuances, but I wouldn't say compare it with your in-ear monitors or, you know, high-end headphones for sure, but it is a fun listen. Moving on to its tuning, its highs, mids and lows. Well, it's very similar to that of the Tune 2, the Tune Beam 2 and the Tune Buds 2. But I do think that this has a lot more elevation in the lower frequencies, which I'll get to. The high frequencies are very soft and supple. They're not in any way very aggressive. I've thrown all sorts of genres at this, be it EDM, be it 80s rock, be it, you know, some stuff from the 2000s. Dave Matthews I listened to for quite a while. I've really enjoyed this. At no point is it aggressive, and I felt the same thing with the Tune Beam 2 and Tune Buds 2. So they've really stuck to their guns of trying to maintain that same tuning. The mids are, of course, recessed. They do follow some sort of Harman curve, of course, but vocals do come at you with more than enough energy. It's not like there's really a loss in the lower mids. Male and female vocals do sound rounded enough. It's difficult to be overly critical on an audiophile front with earphones that sit in this price range, but it is a good performer over here for sure. The place where I do find that it is not the perfect kind of earphones for me is in the lower frequencies, because I do find it straight out of the box, I find this to be a little too heavy in the bass. Now this could obviously be because of that larger 12mm driver. I think it's pushing out a lot more air. It's a lot more aggressive sounding than the other two sets of earphones. Now the thing is, they've somehow managed to maintain a good separation between lower frequency and mid frequency, because the amount of bass this pushes out, it should ideally make the mid sound very muddy or, you know, just completely lack in detail. But thankfully they've tuned it in such a way where it doesn't do that too much. So the lower frequencies almost sound like it's coming from a separate driver, almost like it's a, you know, it's like having a subwoofer on in a room compared to not having it on at all. It does feel separate. It is able to do lower frequencies very effortlessly, and it has a good amount of extension. There's a lot of rumble and lower frequency energy that this pushes out without much effort. So I think a lot of people who like heavier genres of music, EDM, or anything just bass enthusiastic, this is no slouch. In fact, it's a very enjoyable set, and something does tell me that this does push out a lot more lower frequencies than the other two earphones that I did mention. Now, I'd have to do some back-to-back listening before I can confirm that. So if you want to know that, let me know in the comments. I will get back to you. So to sum up, I think this is a fantastic little set of earphones. It's beautifully small and compact. I was really gushing over this when I first saw it. I even showed it to my wife, and she was like, I want a set, because this is just so small and compact. It's very easy to carry, put in your pocket. It's light. They've done a terrific job with the overall design. I've really not seen a set of earphones that come in such a compact package. It's very comfortable, pretty well made. JBL does stick to their guns of keeping the matte finish on all of their products. So I really do like that they're sticking to that. On a sound front, it is a fun sounding set of earphones. It's definitely quite enjoyable. I didn't think that they'd make this as bass enthusiastic as they did. I don't think the previous generation was as enthusiastic in the bass, but I think they've been listening to their customers, because a lot of people want more bass, a lot of people want fullness in bass, but somehow they're able to do that while preserving a lot of detail in the highs and mids, which is quite commendable, of course. So I think for the casual listener, this is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be great for commutes and so on. And the thing is, you have the option of, if I'm traveling and I don't want noise, you can put the sealed ear tips, get the seal, and use active noise cancelling. When you're home and you don't want ANC, you just put on the open ear tips. So it's a very cool, it's kind of like a hybrid kind of set of earphones, because it can do everything, which is quite cool. So anyway, there you have it. That's pretty much my review on the Flex 2. It's definitely something I would recommend, especially for the person who doesn't always want ANC and wants to hear their surroundings. So if you do want to buy this, well, the last time I did check up on this for its selling price, it was going for about 5,999. I think it's still going for around that much. And if you do want to buy it, I will leave the links down below so you can get to that. I will also leave the links to the JBL Tune Buds 2 and the Tune Beam 2 reviews that I've done, as well as the tuning for earphones for the best sound you can get out of them for yourself, ignoring presets. I have done a video on that with the JBL headphones app. Of course, it is a very capable little app. There's a lot you can do with that manual tuning, which is quite amazing, because a lot of manufacturers just stick to presets and they don't let you do much with the manual EQ. But if you want a properly bespoke tuning, that's how you do it. So anyway, that's been my quick review on the Flex 2, and I do hope that it's given you a better understanding for these earphones, and I do hope that I've helped you make some sort of purchase decision. If you would like to help support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to, but of course, thank you for tuning in for some sound advice.